Hello. We made it to the live. Alrighty. This is gonna be a little mishmash of things. Well, the other night I went on and I did a live, and it was at the park, and I kind of did a little follow up, I guess, on like a trip update from Wednesday. Did a video with Adam, Psych Substance, and yeah, so I just wanted to kind of like give a little sum up of what I was talking about in regards to that, and also a little bit more in regards to that trip. Um, Dreams and stuff lately. Um, and I did want to touch on, I should write this down so that I don't forget while I'm talking. And I wanted to touch on ETs and aliens and stuff. So I guess we'll start with the trip summary. Um, so I can't remember. This is my problem. I should have looked it up again before coming in here. Um, but so I took a mescaline analog. I can't remember what it was called. Methyl something. I can't. You'll have to watch Adam's video when it comes out to find out what it actually was. It's a mescaline analog, so similar to mescaline. It was very lackluster. I would generally just say don't try. I mean, unless you're like you need to try all of the things. Like I don't really see a point, other than it's legally accessible, at least from Canada. So I ended up feeling pretty low the following days, and I'm not sure if it was from that trip or what, because I happened to trip last weekend with mushrooms, so I'm not sure if my body was just kind of overloaded and then just kind of like, hey, chill the fuck out. But usually I don't get like a low ever like following mushrooms, so I talked to some friends and they said they were also feeling like kind of weird these last few days, and their sleep has been really off. And I was like, hey, I mean, there was like a combination of factors. Um, yeah, definitely feeling better now. Like I used to deal with like a lot of depression and anxiety and stuff. So when it comes up now, like I have a pretty good ability to kind of like objectively see like what's going on for myself, and I have, better tools to kind of like ride that kind of a storm. And I know now that like those feelings aren't me, so it helps to like get through them. And having that self-awareness of like I just took some substance like that I've never taken before, and I'm tired and I haven't been sleeping totally well, and also hormonals coming off my period. So like there's a lot of things that as a girl, if you're tripping, you can take those things into consideration with how they affect your mood and stuff. I find mushrooms are actually really good for, I mean, who doesn't find mushrooms are good for depression, but like even like cramps and stuff like that. Interesting experience. um Not that I say you should go trip on mushrooms for your cramps, but I mean, once a month is not a bad idea anyways. So live out that magical life, yo. um okay, so that was sort of the trip update. Honestly, stick to acid or like plant, um plant spirit medicines, however you want to say it. I just think you get more out of like a natural substance. I think you get that more of that sense of connectedness with the earth, which just, I mean, like I find you can get there with acid too, but like very like one with everything on acid. Acid is synthesized like molecule coming from a mush, like a fungus, right? So you need 3 times of acid the other day and had to check out. Ooh, that does not sound like a good set and setting for an acid trip. I Yeah, I'm not a I don't mind being in public on trips when it's like, festival or something like and other people are. Yes, I did. Yeah, that we made a video on Wednesday, so that'll probably be coming out in I don't know how long it takes him to turn his videos over, usually like a couple to few weeks depending on what his editor is doing. So you'll be able to get I just kind of wanted to like do a trip follow up here so that when he puts his video out, there's sort of something to like come over here and watch because I'm not super regular at posting videos. I'm so sorry. I've done a few lives and then not like posted them after. Um because I just didn't I don't know. I feel like, oh, it's not polished video. I don't really want to like leave it up there on the internet, but it's fine. Um Anyways, what was the other thing I wanted to talk about? Was dreaming. Okay, dreaming and sleeps lately. I don't know how everyone else has been doing. Um I mean, I think everybody's dealing with like a lot of stress in life and in the world and stuff. So there's a lot of factors that, for everybody that's probably, causing some sleep disruptances. Just, yes, I can't words today. Um, but yeah, like I've been waking up at like 5 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, and not able to go back to sleep. Like, and kind of for the last few years, I've sort of been generally waking up around 8, maybe 9 if I get to sleep in. Um, but like more like 7 to 8. But like, I don't know if it's just the summer, like early mornings just hit me, my circadian rhythm or something. And I don't know, but like I tend to not fall asleep until midnight. Anywhere from like 11 to 1 is when I'm kind of feeling tired, and then I wake up at the crack of dawn and it sucks, and my dreams have been really intense. That's nothing new for me, but like, I don't know. I've talked to a few people, and some of my female friends have been feeling like really kind of discombobulated with sleep lately, and I just can't help but wonder if it has anything to do with the increased CME impacts we've been getting. Like I know that they like it has an effect on like some of our subtle, you know, things going on with our body and our because the pole shift and everything that's going on. I just wonder because it seems like there's like waves of this like kind of, whether it's sleep or general like health kind of um like upsets. Like it seems like it comes in waves for people, and it seems like, a lot of us are on that same wave. So it just kind of makes me wonder if it's more than just like collective consciousness and energy, but like, are we actually all feeling this space weather shit at the same time? Like, like I'm not sure if anybody else has been hearing about like how unusual auroras have been popping up in places where generally like lower latitudes where people wouldn't normally see aurora borealis, and they're getting like pink and green aurora. Like that's yeah, that looks really cool, but it also means we're getting blasted with electromagnetic energy from the fucking sun and the solar system, so and the galaxy. So I mean, it's cool right now, but as that stuff starts to pick up more, like it could actually be having potential effects on our health. I like to think that maybe some of us will get fucking superpowers. I just like to remain optimistic. I mean, if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen, but like you could hope. Hope isn't bad. What superpower would you like to have? Let me know in the comments below. Actually, that'd be kind of a fun discussion. So yeah, and that brings me into aliens again. I think I mentioned this in my UFO video, but superpowers not giving a shit. That is honestly a hell of a superpower and underrated, I think, because like going through what we're going through in the world, I mean, awareness is good, but no, at the end of the day, we gotta know, man. Like anybody, any psychedelic people out there know, I think we know it's all gonna be okay. Like the universe keeps things in balance and in order. I'm pretty sure I've said this before. But say it again, everything is going to be okay. There's a lot of doom and gloom out there, and there's a lot of crazy shit going on, but at the end of the day, you know, the light wins. It just does. It's not like it just does. But yeah, so ETs, that being said, there was more I wanted to say. I just remember where I wanted to start on that. But yeah, I might have said this in my UFO video, but I wanted to kind of say it again or maybe elaborate on it a little bit. People have asked me like, how do you know like what aliens are good and what aliens are bad? I think to me the biggest difference have I experienced afterglow from the trip? Okay, I'll get into the alien stuff. But afterglow, I didn't know. I didn't like it. Honestly, I felt after low. I felt low afterwards. It did not give me like, it felt also like I felt like the dose was like kind of maybe not enough, but I didn't really like from what I experienced, like the whole come up, like I felt a little bit like woobly and I didn't like shake it until like I was totally after the come up. And after that, I just kind of felt like if I had taken more, that the body load wouldn't really pay off for the like trip experience. But I can't say that for sure because I didn't take, I don't think I took enough to like really like trip on it. But honestly, yeah, I'm not a big fan of things that have like a high potential of like uncomfortable body load or um making me feel like physically ill. You know, when it comes to taking things like on the more recreational side of, you know, trips and stuff, like if it was something like ayahuasca where it's like a plant medicine and you need to go through that purge, then okay, like I accept. But generally speaking, like I don't think it's necessary to put yourself through uncomfortable trips just to get the trip. Like um if unless you're going in with intentions to like work with a plant medicine, just take stuff that's easier on your body. It's like, and find the method that works easiest for your body. You don't have to try shrooms, but you don't have the balls for it. Any tips and tricks? Research. It's some general like a general kind of dosing guide. I mean, it's gonna vary between mushrooms and yourself personally, um, but like just to get a kind of idea of like the range of kind of experiences for some people. I mean, it can vary quite a bit, but like for me, like I'm 150 pounds ish, give or take, and like 173 centimeters, give or take. And I trip well with like an eighth of mushrooms, so 3.5 grams. But it depends on the mushrooms, to be totally honest. Set and setting is really important. Um, I wouldn't I would okay. So how I've been eating mushrooms lately is grinding them up pretty fine in like a weed grinder, but that hasn't doesn't have weed in it. You don't want mushrooms to taste like weed. They already taste bonk. Um, and then add it to yogurt, like a cup of yogurt or whatever, like a little cup of yogurt, and then chase it with some lemon juice. And the lemon juice is something I've been doing for a long time. The lemon juice helps to break down the active ingredients in your stomach, so you get higher, better, harder, stronger. Um, yeah, I would say small group. Yeah, 2 to 3, maybe 4 people if you want to like pair off or whatever. But I'd say at least do it with somebody else for your first time. Somebody that has maybe done it before is either going to trip with you or be a trip sitter. Um, but if you're going to have a trip sitter, I would advise that you have somebody who is experienced with tripping so that they know how to treat you while you are high. Because, like, you might have a very like well-meaning friend, but if they don't know what like the experience is kind of like, they might accidentally trigger you into a self-critical headspace where you like have that disconnection because you're in a very deep open place and they're just kind of like on the outside going like, hey buddy, like sometimes um that can be hard, and then you don't want to like the experience to wedge in between a friendship. So yeah, I would recommend a small group of people for sure. And then if you're having a trip sitter, somebody who is experienced with tripping. Because yeah, you might end up having like some really like deep stuff come up, and who knows, whatever. The throwing up part isn't honestly that bad. All I can say is just like know that if you do feel nauseous, to just try not to think about it, and just let yourself know that it's okay to feel nauseous. It's okay to throw up, because if you start trying to resist those feelings, that's sometimes where you can run into like a spiral, like, and you're trying to push force against what the trip is giving you. And sometimes energetically you just need to throw up, like sometimes, because you are bringing things to the surface, like emotionally, things that maybe you've never really processed before. It can be too much for your mind, and then your body just kind of like needs to do that purge for you. Like, at least that's my personal experience with like throwing up on drugs. Like, for me, like, I've thrown up on substances that shouldn't give you nausea at all. Like, but it's just depends on like, um I think, how you are at mentally and emotionally processing your own like experiences, because it's like you can just get it reflected back to you in a trip like times 10. So just checking my text. Okay. The tight feeling in the stomach, yeah, I get that too. I've just taken like Tums for that sometimes. Uh, I also have like an essential oil roller from Sage that's specifically for rolling on your stomach when you have indigestion, and I actually find that really helps for me. It's strong stuff, but I find that like it's got fennel in it. So I try to keep like things like fennel, ginger, like either like candied ginger, like some kind of a ginger chew, like a natural ginger thing on hand, because that helps with the stomach stuff. But yeah, I've been finding putting it in the yogurt and then chasing it with the lemon juice has actually been really working to have like a way smoother stomach time, because I can tell you, I have dealt with all of that. And that's usually why I end up making tea when I do mushrooms, to make it easier. And then I can brew that mushroom tea. I steep it on, like, after the mushroom tea is brewed, I use that tea to steep like peppermint tea, and then I add honey to it because I just like, I can't, like, it's it's quite a thing. I should maybe like film myself trying to eat mushrooms sometime, because it's like it's like it's an event. Um, um, so lemon taking. Okay, so I've heard of this, but I don't know the exact technique. I can't remember. Someone was telling me about it, but I just, yeah, I mean, I chew do the yogurt and mushrooms and then chase it with lemon. That seems to work. I've heard some people like chew it in their mouth and then like with honey and like just chew, 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 and don't swallow. And you kind of just swallow the sludge liquid that your saliva creates when you're chewing the mushroom, and that kind of helps to break down some of those toxins like in your mouth before it gets into your stomach. And I've heard, but I'm just like, I don't know, man, if I could fucking chew on mushrooms for that long. It's like that's the worst part of it, is having it in my mouth. But milk and mushrooms is a bad idea. Okay, really interesting kids. I mean, to me, it seemed weird, but it's been working. Like it's been working, and I've had no kind of stomach weirdness following the yogurt and lemon juice, which I mean, lemon juice and dairy kind of curdles, so I don't know, it seems counterintuitive, but it's fucking working. And I'm like, I can't I don't know any other way that I could like consume them at this point. Like I used to just like bust them up and then make like chocolate with it, like double boil down some chocolate that I liked, and then melt the chocolate or the mushrooms into it and let it cool and just eat it like a homemade mushroom chocolate. Which that is probably works pretty good, but like it's hard for me to sit and eat that much chocolate too. Like I'm not a big sweets eater that way, so I am seeing your comments. And I was gonna go back to I don't know if I've had golden teachers. I was given some, and I just gave them to my friend because she really needed mushrooms. I recently did apex mushrooms and tidal wave, and then most recently I did enigmas, and those sucked. Like they were hyped up, I guess, on the website, and I wouldn't say sucked. I just said I would. They're not worth the hype. They look really interesting. They're like a totally different looking mushroom. It's almost like a comb, like a honeycomb type. Not a honeycomb, but like how like lines means kind of like that, like loose, kind of like shaggy looking thing. Like this kind of had like a weird, like like fungus looking like shape to it. It wasn't like a normal mushroom. Um, really did microdoses. Okay, so I did like an eighth or whatever. I was not a huge fan of the enigmas. So yeah, the apex and the tidal waves, never heard of them before. Really liked both of them. Um, Another thing I can say about like my trips lately, I'll add this in, is that I've been having way more visuals. Okay, I don't know if anybody's watched my videos with Adam, but like I tend to not be a very visual tripper. And I've been kind of like on this for like a long time. But again, my very first mushroom trip, I remember coming up and it was so visual and so intense, I threw up. And that was like, ever since then, it was almost like I had subconsciously in my mind somewhere told the universe, like, hey, please, like, that's just too much. I can't do it. So I've never had like intense visuals ever since. But recently, I started seeing a guy, and he's into mushrooms. And so I've gotten back into mushrooms after like a few years of not really going deep with them because of like where I was at in my life, and I wasn't really sure if I needed to go there with mushrooms. Like I was working through stuff like in my life. I didn't really want to like put myself through the trauma of mushrooms to like, I didn't need that hard lesson because of where I was at. So anyways, I took some time away from mushrooms, but I'm back with them again, and because they've been asking for it and they came around. And I think that it could be said that like your body, like your nervous system knows things about you that you are not necessarily thinking about. Like um I I think that just like, so anyways, I feel very safe and secure like in this relationship, and I think that part of that, like, he and I have been tripping together, and I think that that has something to do with how visual my trips have become. Again, like, my nervous system is actually like at ease and comfortable to the point where like the visuals have come through, like, whoa. I'm just like, I gotta get like myself sorted out for my next trip so that like I have like art stuff available, because it's just like I I nice. It's so cool to have visuals. Like, I feel like I can get there when I, on a trip before, like really relaxing my mind and like closing my eyes and having like inside like closed eye visuals, but yeah, no, I've just been like, I thought it was just the mushrooms because I hadn't done mushrooms in a long time. And then we took some acid, and acid I was like, the visuals were just like next level. And I'm like, okay, something's changing inside of me. Um, I'm not, I wouldn't say necessarily I'm shy, but I'm like really a perfectionist, and I have a hard time just like letting go and putting up a cover that may or may not have some mistakes in it. And I think that that's the way to do it, because I'm not sitting here trying to be a professional about anything, but I would like to share things with people. And it's like, I guess, I have that self-conscious thing in me where it's like, oh, if I have a mistake and I put it out on a video, it's there forever and it can be replayed. But it's like, whatever, at the end of the day, like, yeah. And mushrooms, yeah, they do find you. I feel that way about DMT even more so. Um, but I mean, like, when it comes to like, if you're ever mushroom hunting, oh boy, the mushrooms do find you when you're ready for them. Oh my gosh. And I feel that way about DMT as well. But they kind of, I feel like mushrooms and DMT kind of like float next to the same kind of realms as each other as plant, you know, medicine. If you're talking ayahuasca. Yeah. That's why I'm really happy. I feel really lucky. Like, other than weed and my habitual spliff smoking, like I don't tend to force like an experience to like happen in a specific time. I just kind of try to like, I like to have the stuff available so that when it feels right, I can do it, or just wait for that time when it comes around again, and like, yeah, let's do it. So back to what am I smoking on right now? I've got lemon haze sativa. Um, I used to find sativas kind of made me a little anxious, but I moved past that anxiousness now, because I've started to be a little bit more productive doing things. But like getting out of the depression side of things, where I'm able to actually do the stuff that I want to do, so I'm feeling less anxious about being like paralyzed by the depression, which was circumstantial for what I was going through in my life at times. Like, I definitely feel like I'm way better control over my emotions than I ever have been. But I mean, getting older too. I'm 32 years old now, so you'd hope. I would love to grow weed, but I don't get enough light where I live to grow. But legally in Canada, you're allowed to grow, I think, like 4 plants per household. So that's cool. But yeah. Yeah, I struggle really hard with like overthinking lyrics to write, and like it prevents me from like sitting down and trying to write. Sometimes like I feel like the music is there. It's like I would really love to make EDM music. Like I would love to like the stuff that I hear in my head like when I'm tripping is like the craziest dubstep, man. Like I don't know if anybody else gets those like auditory hallucinations when you're tripping, but like I hear like I hear like it sounds like dubstep to me, like good, really well made, like that like soul feeling dubstep. I don't know, man. It sounds like mushrooms to me. Like it sounds like mushrooms, and I think that's really cool. Like I think it would be cool to make music that sounds like those types of like borderline like organic and digital sounding wubbies and like buzzes and stuff like that. I don't know. And also like I play ukulele and guitar, but you know, and I would love to write songs like that. I would love to have someone write songs with me, you know, and then play them because I feel like I don't know if I just judge my own lyric writing too much. Maybe if I don't know, could take a little class on some writing. Australia, have you ever looked into like this is the thing, this is the benefit of looking into legal analogs because there's like research chemicals online that depending on where you are you can purchase legally that are like the smallest fraction off from something like psilocybin or LSD, and it gives you essentially the same experience. Psych substance would be one to go for that. I'm sure he's done some stuff on the LSD analogs. I don't watch all those videos. He's my friend, so like I used to watch his videos. What's it called? I don't know. You would have to look into LSD analogs. So there's lists online that you can find of these like quote research chemicals that are, you know, Aaron Shulgin, I think that's the guy's name who like came up with a bunch of these things like MDMA and analogs and stuff. Anyways, there are like ways to get trips legally. Um, Although I have heard in Australia, you guys have mushrooms that grow there. You just gotta look into that. Look into what your local mushrooms are. That's the safest thing to trip on if you're worried. If you know you're worried about purchasing something illegally, find what grows naturally and just do the research. And there's a couple tests that you can do that easily distinguish whether you have a lookalike or the thing that you're looking for. Spore prints and you know cross section examining and stuff. But just see if you can get out. Look at what your mushroom seasons are, and see if you can get out to those areas and into nature. And just you know, if you start poking around online, there's mushroom communities, there's mushroom foragers, and then you can like you know wink wink nudge nudge. If you be subtle about it, you can find people that will help you find them. But yeah, sometimes mushroom foragers can be a little bit guarded about their spots because obviously like they don't want their patches to get like improperly harvested or over harvested or you know like word spreads. It's like fishermen too, you know, like they don't necessarily like to tell their good spots. But how did I become friends? um Divine synchronicity. I That's all I can tell you. Just happened to be. um yeah, we first met at Shambhala 2018, and we've been good friends since 2018, 2017. I can't remember when we first started talking. 2017. anyways, yeah, so I wanted to talk really, it's getting like on an hour, but I wanted to say uh about ETs. So this I don't know, feels important to me to mention this. Um, Good and bad ETs. I think that when it comes to contact, I guess what inspired me to talk about this? I was some short on YouTube came up and it was a girl. She was talking about like the why we haven't found ETs yet. Well, I mean, like here's the thing: people are really focused on finding something in that is like physical, right? Like we don't know what might be in other dimensions or what that even means to us, right? We assume that life is going to look like something material, like a being of some material kind. So that's one of the first assumptions that I think that really limits like people when they're thinking about aliens is like, yeah, like it might not be life might not necessarily be limited to the third dimension in the way that we perceive life and assume life must exist as and have require like the requirements that we assume that life has. Obviously people are starting to get a little bit better about thinking outside of that box, but it's just still within the material realm is where people seem a lot of people seem to be focused. Obviously I think psychedelic people have a little bit more of an appreciation or like that we all we see is not all there is. um yeah, honestly I'm starting to think that there more and more that there's time travel happening. um at least like some I think that some of these ETs are potentially like time traveling humans from either other timelines, who knows, other other times within this reality. Who knows if they're able to come from parallel universes or not, or if I've heard you know theories of like um how there's potentially multiple timelines, multiple realities kind of trying to or like interacting with each other or overlapping at this time. um I've kind of wondered that too. I think at the end of the day, when back to that first point of like, how do you tell good from bad, right? Good, bad. I think that beings that have benevolent intentions for us are going to be more trying to communicate to us through very subtle ways, through more psychic ways, through our dreams or through our thoughts, like gentle guiding rather than um, necessarily like appearing to us. I think that the narrative that I see through like ancient aliens and certain things coming, the AI stuff is really concerning. um, I think it's really important that we're able to discern what true connection and intelligence feels like versus what we're told it is. Um, we have to be able to feel it. And that's why I think, it's important that we remember to go within ourselves and connect with ourselves and connect with nature, because in those quiet, those still moments, that's when we can, when we raise our natural vibration and our new, and our natural, frequency, that's where we can connect with, these beings who knows? You know, I don't want to put names on these beings, right? Potential other intelligences, like that's we're going to connect in those subtle spaces in ourselves, in our minds, like um uh rather than, you know, the great alien overlords presenting us with technology and an escape from the material world. Like I think like this, you know, the escape to Mars and escaping from our planet rather than fixing it. Obviously, that's starting to, you know, some opinions are starting to shift around all of that. I don't know. There's so much to say about it, but I think mainly like I wanted to say like just don't pay too much attention to things that, you know, these weather balloons and stuff, that all that shit that was going on, you know, shooting down UFOs, and that's that's not what it's about. It's about our conscious evolution. And yeah, I'll talk more about that stuff in another video because I can like just talk about that for a whole video. But yeah, so trip update. Talked about dreams. What else did the people said here? Yeah, honestly, I think that as you know, it throughout history, you know, in more recent history, I definitely think that like some of the stuff that people are seeing in regards to UFOs is government, you know, either like reverse technology or, you know, unreleased military technology. Um, and then some of it is definitely like other than us, or, or like where we're at right now, anyways. Like, that's the thing. Are they time travelers? Who the fuck knows? Are they humans that have been, you know, divergent from Earth, but Earth humans, but took off somewhere at another point in history because of cataclysms and were able to get off the Earth and have been somewhere else and now coming back? Who knows? Like, I think that there's a lot going on right now, like in terms of coming into these, you know, potential cycles of the sun and, you know, our solar system, you know, is there something to be said about, you know, that falling of the end of an empire and what happens at these times? Like, is this a greater cycle that we're feeling right now? Is this the end of of our contemporary Atlantis? Like, yeah, I know Bob Lazar's story. That's what I like. If you watch my UFO video that where I talked about when I saw a UFO, like I think I mentioned like Bob Lazar's description of like a anti-gravity thing, like kind of makes me wonder about what I saw, because like I saw 3 points of light that moved all together. I'm pretty sure it was one ship rather than three ships. That's just my intuitive feeling. Who knows though. um but I couldn't see anything in between the lights. It was just blue, like the blue sky. So I kind of wonder, like, I don't know, it just seemed like it moved so fast and so precisely and then took off into space, like it went out there, like, so I don't think that that was people. I just don't think that that was people. I think that was something else. Just sort of had that feeling. It had that feeling of like you see something from not Earth and it hits different. Like I've seen weird stuff before, but yeah, no. Anyways, I think stuff's going on as it usually is. I'm kind of starting to lose any train of thought though, so I think I'm gonna roll off. Yeah. Honestly, like just knowing what I've seen, it makes me believe it a lot more in other people's like personal stories and stuff like that. Like you can like there you can I don't know. I feel like you can kind of tell when someone's being authentic when they're telling you with like they at least don't know what they saw, you know. But like I think that there's a sense within us when we know we see something that isn't human necessarily. Anywho, yeah, I'll post this 46-minute video of me rambling on about whatever. Yeah, I'll try to post more as usual. Okay, bye guys.